Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing today? Happy Wednesday, Mr. Max Voltage. Thanks for being here with us today. All right, let's see who's in the chat, and then we'll get into this. Mr. DJ Mines, good to see you, buddy. Sadie, sometimes good to see you. Man, I gotta change this music. This is terrible. Hold on. I know you guys couldn't hear it, but I could hear enough of it that it is awful. All right. There we go. All right, Mr. Lazarus, good to see you, buddy. Orange Husky Mining, Magic Lucky, Crypto 440. My man, I still got to test those GPUs, but I do appreciate you fixing them. And I got to get Will Wyman back his GPU, his RX, what was it, 470, I think we sent you. I appreciate you fixing all of them. You're awesome. So if you guys need GPUs fixed, I don't know if he's open for service, but definitely a possibility. He's good at doing it. Leo Lustig, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Patty Whack Miner, who else? Steven Cicero. Carl Coat, good to see you. Nick V, Regilio, what's up, buddy? Dumpster Fire, everybody else, Alan the King. If I missed you, I apologize, but let's see what we're looking like today. All right, Bitcoin looking like 30,281. We have Ethereum 1860. Everything's red. I mean, I guess kind of expected when everything's been green for the last couple days. Doge 6.5 cents, just under that. LTC 85. It's at least it's not in the 70s. LTC could be worse. Let's see on the day. We are on the day. Weekly, everything's green. Oh, that's kind of cool. I just noticed that. Look at this. So on the top of these tabs, it'll give you the red outline if you're, you know, if it's like obviously up or down on the week, month, year, whatever. That's kind of neat. I didn't know that. Holy shit. Look at the yearly tab. Caspa up 7,295%. Renders up 303. You know what? I think I'm going to get some back into render and get just some to hold for long term. That's a project I really want to look into a little bit more. I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you feel about it in the chat. Pepe on the week is up 43.5%. I still don't understand this FTT token. If anybody can explain that to me, please do. BCH 70. What the hell is going on with BCH? Why did it almost double in a week? What is happening? Is there some news of BCH I didn't know about? Anyways, on the day, everything looks pretty shit except for FTT. I don't understand it. Anyways, all right, let's Fear and Greed Index. Check it out. 62. It's on the greed. Not too bad. Could be worse. All right, total coins, or sorry, top 10 coins by total market cap. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, USD Coin, XRP, Lado Staked Ether, Cardano, Dogecoin, and Tron is in 10th. Interesting. Solana, Litecoin, 11th and 12th. Litecoin's pushing up though. Litecoin's been gaining or just creeping up on everything else, which is kind of interesting. Pretty interesting, at least to me. All right, let me see what you guys say in the chat. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to at me. What we're gonna do this morning. So we have a video here by Mr. Altcoin Daily, and this video he's talking to Mark Yusko or Yusko. I don't know how you're supposed to say it, but regardless, he is a Bitcoin guy, right? Talks about Bitcoin a lot. Has let me see. You know what? I actually looked up a little article about him. Let's see. It says Mark Yusko is an American hedge fund manager, investor, and philanthropist. He is a founder, CEO, and chief investment officer of Morgan Creek Capital Management and Investment Management's firm based out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He is a proponent of value investing and long-term non-speculative approach to the markets. He has held a positive view on cryptocurrencies and was an early investor in Bitcoin. So that's who we're listening to today. Mr. Austin over here at Altcoin Daily is speaking with him. So if you guys have any questions, I want to hear what he has to say. Please feel free to ask in the chat, and we will kind of elaborate or talk about things as we go on. Real quick, Crypto 440 said, I'm learning 30 series cards now. Problem is broken ones on eBay are ridiculous. Oh, really? For the price to buy them broken? That sucks. Definitely sucks. You getting into CPU mining train or what? Chadwicks, I made that mistake once in my life. I don't plan on doing it again. Just saying. No, I will start. I'll get some CPU mining stuff on, but only because I already have it. I will not go out and buy anything else. So I don't advise you guys to listen to the CPU hype train. I'm sorry, I don't. Unless you already have the stuff, it's not worth it. All right, let's get into it. Mr. Mark Yusko or whatever. Here we go. No further ado. If you have any questions, ask away.
Just like the Silicon Valley bank run was part of the Kabuki theater to make people afraid of banks, well, why would you want to make people afraid of banks? Well, because they're going to give you a solution. coming up pretty soon called the CBDC.
Boom.
And if people think that's a solution, you're just not paying attention.
Today, I interviewed friend of the channel, Mark Yusko, who is the CEO, founder, CIO of Morgan Creek Capital Management. And we discuss the future of cryptocurrency in 2023, including BlackRock getting into Bitcoin, the worst case scenario for Operation Choke Point 2.0, Mark's best advice, his best alpha for crypto investors today. But before all that, Mark, are we close to an end with Operation Choke Point 2.0?
I fear it's not the end. It's not the beginning of the end. It may perhaps be the end of the beginning, as Churchill famously said. So
The end of the beginning.
Look, I've talked about this period of time since the launch of Bitcoin. 09 to 15, kind of that first 6 years was the first they ignore you phase. It's like, yeah, a bunch of nerds and geeks playing with your magic internet money. Who cares?
This is so true.
Then they laugh at you, right? So that was 16 to 21, kind of haha, bunch of nerds and geeks. Yeah, a couple billion here, billion there. Pretty soon you're talking real money. 2022 to now, and I think unfortunately until 2027-ish, whatever the number is the then they fight you phase. And
you just said 2027, then they fight you phase. That's crazy. That's a long ways away.
And look, this is a massive, concerted, intentional effort, right? And people say, oh, no, it's just coincidences. No, they're not coincidences. It's not a coincidence that we're getting these announcements now with the big, BTC, I mean, not BTC, the big fintech. TradFi is the word I'm searching for, Austin. Sorry. Big TradFi company saying, "Oh yeah, we want to do this." BlackRock, we want to do an ETF for crypto or for Bitcoin. Really? I mean, think about this. Not a month ago. I mean, it's not even like a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Not a month ago, the SEC was like, "You're a villain if you're even touching this space. You're bad." Now, everybody. I mean, Deutsche Bank this morning and Fidelity over the weekend and BlackRock last week. And, everybody's jumping in the pool.
Yeah, all these big companies now that they can't really, I guess, bat an eye towards, be like, these guys are bad because they're not bad, because they more or less back them in the entire financial sector. Why the hell wouldn't you, or why would you say anything worse about them now that they're talking about crypto? It's kind of crazy. The Pirate, have a good day, buddy. Appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you so much.
Now, why is that? I will argue that this started a handful of years ago when, they appointed the guy in charge, right? He was teaching a blockchain class at MIT.
Gary Gensler, if you guys
and
don't
now
know.
He's, the enforcer. Hey, that's weird. And
he's more like one of those guys who got picked on in high school, and now he's like revenge against everybody.
You had, basically all these incumbents vilified and in many cases now sued. So, yeah, it's a long rambling way of saying, yeah, I think choke point is real. I think it's been going on for a while. I think Sam and FTX were the useful idiots that were concocted to create this illusion of, all the bad people and all the bad stuff is happening. I used to laugh. You hear people like Ms. Warren and others say, crypto is only used for money laundering and terrorism. I was like, right. The biggest terrorism tool in the world is the US dollar. Full stop.
Boom. Dude, he just dropped the hammer. That's crazy. So you guys hear that clearly? Listen to that one more time.
Were the useful idiots that were concocted to create this illusion of, all the bad people and all the bad stuff is happening. I used to laugh. You hear people like Ms. Warren and others say, crypto is only used for money laundering and terrorism. I was like, right. The biggest terrorism tool in the world is the US dollar. Full stop. Right.
So
It's not close. But what I didn't realize was they had inside information. they were actually doing the money laundering with crypto through FTX. So there's a whole bunch of stuff there that, we don't even have to dive into, that bad stuff, bad people doing bad stuff.
So what still scares you about Operation Choke Point 2.0? Because we've seen the SEC already go after the top exchanges. They've already declared
they're coming for the little guys. I said this last week on another show that I do every Friday, and I'm waiting for the shoes to drop this week. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm not friendly with anybody at the SEC. I'm not repeating anything untoward. I have a really bad feeling that some stuff's coming. And, they've been systematically attacking the highest levels of success. And I think they're about to go down into the DeFi space. And look, if you can literally change the rules after the game starts, that's a tough environment for founders and entrepreneurs and investors to win, right? I mean,
it's a tough environment for anybody to live in because everybody's dealing with it right now.
Literally, if you dribbled across half court in a basketball game and they said, we changed the rules. You can't cross half court anymore. I mean, that rule actually existed in Oklahoma up until the 1990s.
What in the hell?
For women, not for guys, but for women had to play 3-on-3. You had to pass, the defense had to pass the ball to the offense, and you couldn't go across midcourt.
Was it soccer?
So, the average person
works.
trying to play basketball would say that doesn't make any sense. And so if suddenly anyone who transacted in DeFi is now criminal, I mean, come on, really? I mean, that's some crazy stuff. Well, I shouldn't say criminal. You violated securities law. It doesn't make it criminal, but
how many of you guys are into DeFi? I'm going to put a poll in the chat because that's crazy. Like, everybody in DeFi now violates security laws. Like, that's insane.
Violated securities laws. That's crazy stuff. And I think we're that close. Again, don't know for sure, but I just have a really bad feeling that reading the tea leaves, that's what it looks like is coming next.
How big a deal is the BlackRock ETF application? Because to me, it seems that Bitcoin is free and clear now more than ever compared to DeFi.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's huge. And look, I've been talking about this for a long time. Everybody was applying, and the Winklevoss twins and Van Eck and my friends at a bunch of different firms. We're trying to get an ETF approved. And I said, zero chance, like no chance any one of those was going to get approved. People said, well, why? I said, because BlackRock is the only one that's ever going to get approved. And people said, they haven't even applied yet. Like, they will, and they'll get approved.
Sure enough.
And so, well, why do you think that? Like, well, because they're part of the tent. Right,
they're at the cool kids lunch table. That's what he's trying to say.
Under the tent or outside the tent, and all of us who are trying to disrupt those under the tent. Look, the trust business has had a great 800 years. That's a long run. 800 years of us, the plebs, trusting the banksters to safeguard our money, and we pay. This is a crazy stat.
That's so
we
true.
Pay globally.
That's so weird.
$7 trillion with a T every year.
Jesus.
For banking, assurance, auditing, brokerage, all the trust industry, financial services, broadly speaking, $7 trillion every year. And the truth technology, right? We're going from trust to truth with blockchains, can get rid of most of that, if not all of it. They 100%. Don't like that, right? Because that's somebody's revenue. And
they're cutting into their profits, right? They're taking money out of the government's pocket. That's what Bitcoin's doing to them, or crypto in general.
And those people are really powerful. They make the laws. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. Mm-hmm. So those under the tent are going to do everything they can to keep those outside the tent from getting inside. And
right, because they're trying to just, you know, they don't want it to cut into their stuff. That's crazy. That's crazy.
if that means changing the rules so that they get to control it. Now,
Crypto will keep them too honest.
I got an interesting debate this morning with one of my partners, which is kind of interesting because I would consider him pretty far out there on the decentralization spectrum. And he's like, oh, you know, there's no decentralization anymore. It's gone. You know, they've got control of all the on-ramps, the off-ramps. They can put you in jail. Like, you know, Andrew Tate, he was citing Andrew Tate. I'm like, well, look, you go to Romania, all bets are off. It's like that movie about the guy who was smuggling hashish in Turkey, right? You go into a foreign country and break some laws, you might get in trouble. But I don't think just for transacting in Bitcoin, you go to jail in the United States, at least yet. But they could pass that law too. So he was really down. And I was like, wow, I'd never seen that before. And I'm still of the belief that we can win. In fact, I believe we have won, right? If you're in this space, if you're pursuing this technology, you know, the fourth part of the quote, right? After then they fight you is then you win, from Mandela, although Mandela didn't say it. Somebody else said it for him.
It's like the story of the tortoise and the hare, right? The hare rushed, and, you know, at the end falls asleep and the turtle wins. But it's like, that's pretty much where we're at with crypto, to be honest. It's inevitable that it's going to take over, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, yeah, the government, they don't have a choice but to adopt it. Like, people are just going to continue to use it, whether they make rules or not. It's going to happen regardless.
But I can never remember that guy's name either, which is sad because I should give him credit. But we should look that up and put it in the show notes. But
let's do it.
I do feel like it is a huge deal. And I think it sets the stage for a pretty meaningful bull market, which, you know, look, I declared crypto summer started on June 15th. And I said that months ago. And it's funny, people, well, why? I'm like, well, it's just the seasonality of how it works. It's a 4-year cycle and you break it into 4 pieces. And June 15th was when we went from from winter to spring a year ago. And so June 15th was going to be the equinox this year. Now, I had no idea that was going to be the day of the BlackRock announcement. And it's literally the bottom. Like,
real quick. So Steven Cicero said, I don't think crypto will completely take over, but it will be a strong option. Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, when I say crypto taking over, it's not even just crypto, it's digital dollar. Like, there's not a chance on earth that we're going to continue to print money when they have the technology to just click a button and it's done. They don't have to disperse millions of dollars to every bank around the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any damn sense to keep paper bills around if this technology continues to roll out. That's kind of what I was getting at. But I mean, crypto overall, yeah, it might not fully take over. Like, there'll always be some sort of government dollar, but I don't think it's going to be anything other than digital in the next, like, you know, say 50 years, right? That's my opinion.
It's been up only since last Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day that was.
And right, yeah, Dog said we already use the digital dollar in a sense, and that's true too. Because, like, I mean, how many of you actually, you know what? I'm gonna put a poll in the chat. How many of you actually hold or carry money around? A lot of people don't even carry money. It's just debit card, credit card, and that's it. License. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really carry much anymore. Like, legit. I don't have my wallet, but it's like a little freaking like a scan proof, one of those wallets you just kind of slip your cards in, and it's got like a money clip on the back, and it's like, most of the time I don't even have money on it. There's no point. But if you're paying for like a service, yeah, cash is king. So I get that. But at the end of the day, most of us use credit cards or debit cards. It's just easier, right? I don't know.
That's weird, right? I mean, that's an odd thing, but it's fully expected when big institutions, big organizations, wealthy investors have been doing this for years. I tweeted this out earlier today. It's the oldest trick in the book, right? If you want to buy a lot of something, what do? You shit on it. right? When George Soros wanted to corner the market in copper, right? What did he do? He didn't go out and buy a bunch of copper. He went out and sold a bunch of copper and spread rumors that copper was going to zero. Then you swoop in and buy a whole bunch after the price collapses. And big institutions been doing that. Elon does that all the time and all kinds of stuff. That's how big operators operate. Is you don't go buy it and then tell everybody you bought it and everybody clap and watch it go up. You want to buy it cheaper. So
yeah, that's exactly why, at least in my opinion, why crypto's being shit on, because I guarantee you all these big players are just collecting Bitcoin. And you know what? It's probably going to come out in the next couple of years where, you know, oh, this entire time so-and-so has been buying all this crypto. It's kind of like, wasn't JP Morgan one of the biggest, like, I think it was JP Morgan. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was something saying that they were telling everybody inside their business they couldn't purchase crypto, or they couldn't be involved with crypto, and then come to find out like a year or two later they were purchasing it the entire time. They were telling all their employees not to purchase it. I think it was JP Morgan. If it wasn't them, I'll look it up later, but that was it was kind of fishy. And that's how the big guys play it, man. They want to get their cut first. Like, you know, they'll talk shit about it, grab all they can, and then just let it pump up.
So that's what I think went on last year. Is like, it's again not a coincidence. The day of the peak in 2021 was the day they allowed the Bitcoin futures ETF to happen. I mean, it's the day. Well, why does that matter? Well, because the banks and people like BlackRock could go naked short. You could create paper negative Bitcoin. You could go short Bitcoin. And that pushed the price down and got all the weak hands to fold, all the leverage out of the system. Then they sacrificed FTX to make it appear that, you know, bad people doing bad things, even though there's not much going on there. I mean, it's kind of like...
I have to pause this. So this is where I want to show you. This is what I was talking about. JP Morgan Chase chief executive Jamie Dimon said he would fire any employee trading Bitcoin for being stupid. The cryptocurrency won't end well. He told the investor conference in New York, predicting it will eventually blow up. It's a fraud. It's worse than tulip bulbs. But then it come to find out that they were like one of the largest investors in this, in Bitcoin after they said that. So it was just kind of interesting. That's how the big boys play it, though, guys. That's how they play it.
Like FTX to me reminds me of Madoff, right? They called Madoff a hedge fund problem, but there was no hedge and there was no fund. I mean, he hadn't made a trade in 13 years, so there was no hedging going on. And he was literally, his brother-in-law was taking the money and putting it in Bernie's account. There was no fund. It was just a bad person doing bad stuff. And that's the same thing. So, Alameda's this big trading firm. No, they weren't. Look at the data. They were not big. They were not sophisticated. They were not good. They lost their ass in Luna, which precipitated this whole thing. So I think it was part of the whole wrapping it all back to choke point. I think it was all part of the kabuki theater to make people afraid, just like the Silicon Valley bank run was part of the kabuki theater to make people afraid of banks. Well, why would you want to make people afraid of banks? Well, because they're going to give you a solution coming up pretty soon called the CBDC. And if people think that's a solution, you're just not paying attention.
It's not. Right?
You should be very, very, very afraid of CBDCs.
Mark, final question. And again, for the audience, all your links are down below in the video description. You talk about on Twitter a lot, edge or, alpha or advice.
Yeah.
Today in crypto, what's an edge you have in your mind?
Edge to me is what makes great players, investors, people, artists, whatever it is, great, right? So what defines greatness? And there are lots of different edges, right? In investing, you could, in the olden days, you could have an informational edge. Literally, you could get information before other people. And it wasn't illegal, right? You could go meet a CEO and you could ask him questions that other people couldn't ask, and him or her, and you could get edge. Then they outlawed that with Regulation FD. You're not allowed to go talk to people that other people can't talk to. I'm like, why? That's just good research. That's just good access. So not if you're pay to play, but if you're just doing good work. Or so then it was about an analytical edge. You could build a better model. Well, then everyone had models. Then it became a speed edge, right? If you moved your computers closer to the exchange so you could get the information faster. Okay, and now that edge is eroded because everybody's got high frequency trading. So then it became you got to own the market makers. So it was a scale edge, right? Everybody trades through Citadel. Like, I still don't understand why anyone would borrow stock from Citadel to go short, because they'll just squeeze you, right? Why would anyone do that? Why? I don't understand, but people do. And he makes a lot of money. I mean, Ken's probably the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. I mean, the guy's a mad genius. But so it's a long, winding answer to say edge can be many, many things, but edge, maybe the greatest edge, and I hate gives him, I'm in Chapel Hill and I'm a, Tar Heel fan, even though I'm a Notre Dame person. That's my sign up there. But I have to give credit to Coach K, because he's the one that said this to me. I was, talking with him, probably 15 years ago, and says, what separates the great players from the average players? I'm like, well, I have some ideas, but you're going to tell me. So, okay, I'm game. And he said, well, the average player, is true to investor or anybody really, always focuses on the last play. And think about it, we just saw the basketball finals. How many times you see it? Someone misses a shot and they go back and commit a stupid foul because they're thinking about missing the shot. He says a great player always focuses on the next play, right? They don't even remember taking the shot. Total erasure, go back, play good defense, steal the ball, make a layup. And the same thing's true here. If you're constantly focused on the last play, the last time someone screwed you, or the last time the government came after you, or the last time you had a loss, or the last time you missed an opportunity, you're never going to do anything, right? You'll be paralyzed by fear or inaction. The great edge is the ability to constantly be looking forward, to constantly be learning from your failures. The great coach, Dean Smith, said Jeff to Ralph, right? When you make a mistake, and we all make mistakes, you got to recognize it. Okay. The hardest part, admitting it. That's hard because we all have ego and we don't want to say we're wrong. You got to learn from it, and then you got to forget it. And that forgetting, that's the common theme. You got to forget. You got to, go forward. And for me, right now in crypto, the edge is, it's not over, right? It's not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. And so this technology is going to win, and we're all going to win, but we have to keep focusing on the next play. And are there things that people were focused on that are going to get shut down? 100%, 100%, right? There are things that are going to be deemed securities. They're going to get shut down, and we're going to have to move on from that.
The actual question was, what's the edge? What's his edge on this whole thing? Yeah, that was a long stroll or long-winded answer. So yeah,
we're going to have to play by a different set of rules, kind of like a combo set of rules, while the then they fight you phase is on. Yep, it's not going to be fully decentralized all the time, because the incumbents don't like it. Will we win? Yep, we'll win, but you just got to keep getting back up, dust yourself off. It's the old adage, fall down seven times, get up 8.
Along.
And, channel Mandela, right? He went to jail for what he believed and came out stronger and made a huge impact on the world. So yes, they will fight us. But if you're here and you're in this business, if you're watching this, we've already won. Maybe I don't feel like it right now, but we've won.
Mark.
Awesome. That was a pretty good interview. What is this? Did we watch this? I don't even know. I don't even know if I watched that yesterday. Did I? I might have. Let's see. Shout out to Altcoin Daily for that video. I want to see if I watched that one though. Did I?
I have.
Did we watch this yesterday? No, we didn't. This one came out yesterday too, didn't it? 14 hours ago. You guys want to watch this? Michael Saylor. This is actually a good follow-up. Michael Saylor is a pretty smart guy too in the space. He's actually a really big Bitcoin advocate. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat real quick before we get into this. So the edge, perseverance, was that the point? I think that was the point. Patrick Murphy. I think that was the point. Yeah, I don't know. That was a long stroll off the beaten path to that question. But yeah, let's check out this one. So this is Michael Saylor, BlackRock, Citadel, Fidelity will send Bitcoin to $1 million. So I want to see what this is all about too. This is 14 hours ago. Man, he was cranking out videos yesterday. I know they're doing a lot of interview stuff, and they're actually doing like some new, I don't know, whale show or some shit. It's going to be the two brothers here, Austin and Aaron, and then like a couple other people, but we will see. All right, let's watch this. If you guys have any questions, ask me in the chat. I haven't seen this yet, so hopefully it's good.
Said before, and I would repeat it again, if it's not going to zero, it's going to $1 million.
In the last month, we've seen BlackRock, Citadel, Deutsche Bank, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, all in their own way, aggressively jump into Bitcoin. How big a deal is that?
I think it's extreme. Bitcoin represents thermodynamically sound money and thermodynamically sound property, and a modern high velocity economic energy system. So that being the case, anybody not using it is running on a 20th century system that's defective. And you know, we talk about there's a meme, Bitcoin fixes this. Okay, well, if you're an individual, if you're a member of the working class and you keep working harder and harder and things get more expensive and you can never catch up, then Bitcoin fixes your economic problem. But Bitcoin fixes every economic problem of everyone that adopts it. So if, for example, if only individuals adopt Bitcoin, but banks and nation states and cities and states and corporations don't, well, you know, how good is your life going to be if all the corporations collapse, all the banks collapse, and all the nations collapse, and all the cities collapse, and you're economically sound, but all of these other institutions are not, right? So it's inevitable that if Bitcoin is going to do the best good for the world, it needs to be adopted, not just by the early individualist, right? The rugged sovereign individuals, right? That's one group, but you also want pension funds, institutional investors, bakeries, manufacturers, trucking companies, unions, cities, states, agencies, charities, universities, churches, everybody. You want them all to adopt it. And for them, they need an infrastructure of institutional custodians. You know, the pension fund for a bunch of retired truckers is going to need the infrastructure that Wall Street provides. So it needs mega banks, and it also needs large institutional investors. So what we've seen over the past week is we see big banks, Deutsche Bank, Credit Agricole, Santander, right? These are interesting entities getting involved. Very important, because those banks are the national champion banks, and they hold the public money, which means that if you're a public enterprise or a public institution and you want to actually fix your problems with Bitcoin, you're going to need to do it with the help of one of those banks. The news of the last week with regard to BlackRock is significant when you take it in its entirety. So BlackRock is probably the largest institutional money manager, and so they're being entrusted with the money of all these other institutions. And BlackRock applies for an ETF. The significance is you now have the establishment endorsing Bitcoin. Yeah, it used to be the Bitcoin narrative was, oh yeah, BlackRock is against us, ESG is against us, the establishment is against us. The establishment was never against Bitcoin. They were merely indifferent. You know, there are enemies of Bitcoin, but they're not in the establishment. They're actually not in-kind competitors to Bitcoin, other crypto tokens that want to be the next Bitcoin. They're the ones that have an interest in spreading that ESG FUD. BlackRock is just interested in doing good for the public as best they see it. And it's a big, diverse organization. You want to invest in silver or gold or land or whatever, then they'll handle it for you.
I want to know what you guys think about the whole BlackRock ETF thing. Do you guys think it's a good thing or a bad thing? I'm going to put a poll in the chat real quick. And interesting fact that we had the poll in the chat. It said, yes, most of the time carrying cash, 54% of you guys. 36% said not really, and 9% said never. To be honest, I'm like a not really guy. I used to carry cash a lot, but now it's mostly just everything's digital. It's always credit card, debit card. If I have cash, cool. If I need cash, I'll take it with me. But it's like I don't carry it on the normal everyday basis. So very interesting. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about the BlackRock ETF. Is it good or is it bad overall?
So BlackRock decides to bring a Bitcoin ETF to market. That's an interesting data point, but the last 20 got denied by the SEC. So the next question is, why does BlackRock think they're going to get approved? They have this 570 to 1 win ratio, right? So people go, well, it's 99% likely you'll get approved. Why? Well, to the same day or the day afterwards, the EDX exchange got announced, and EDX is a non-custodial exchange backed by Fidelity and Citadel and Charles Schwab. So 3 other big Wall Street firms. What's the significance of that? Well, the SEC has denied those 20 spot ETFs, and in the denials, they generally say, we're denying it because we don't see a Bitcoin spot exchange that's regulated and transparent, per our liking. And in the SEC cases against major crypto exchanges, the issue they take is they don't like the idea that an exchange is a broker-dealer and an exchange and a clearinghouse. Those are 3 separate functions. Well, so EDX is just one of those functions. It's just the exchange. It's not the clearinghouse. It's not the broker-dealer. So if you're an industry watcher, you say, well, the SEC can't approve this unless their fundamental objection is addressed or cured. So EDX coming online sets up a situation where the SEC can say, okay, well, it's trading on, between NASDAQ and maybe it'll trade through EDX, and there's a surveillance agreement per BlackRock, and EDX is not a clearinghouse. It's not a broker-dealer. So, the crypto industry now has compliant exchanges and a compliant product, so we can go ahead and approve that. Now, I'm not the SEC. I don't know what they'll do. They could do whatever they want to do. It's still possible. Theoretically, they would deny it for any number of reasons, right? What's the materiality of EDX versus all the other crypto trading? I don't know, but EDX did come live in the same week when this news is breaking. And what happened in rapid succession is like 4 or 5 other Bitcoin spot ETFs get refiled. So if you step back and you look at this from the point of view of an indifferent investor or an indifferent industry watcher, the conclusion would be, it looks like a spot ETF probably will get approved. There's massive political pressure to approve one. The circumstances have changed, and now there's a way for the SEC to approve it without backtracking on its previous legal and policy guidance. Certainly, there are a lot of Wall Street entities that have a vested interest in seeing this happen. If you're an institution, one way to get Bitcoin exposure is to buy the underlying asset. But there have been challenges with finding the right exchange to buy it on and the custody arrangement. And so a simpler way to do it is to buy the spot ETF. There are trillions of dollars of capital that is required to invest in a security that trades in these compliant forums is understating the obvious. It's tens of trillions of dollars. So there's a lot of capital that can't buy the Bitcoin or self-custody the Bitcoin. They don't have the charter. Maybe it's against tax code. Maybe when they raised $10 billion from public investors, they raised it to invest in securities, but not invest in commodities or property. So the spot ETF availability is a major milestone for institutional adoption. The approval of a spot ETF is a major milestone in regulatory clarity, which is tantamount to an endorsement, right? The engagement of Fidelity, Citadel, and BlackRock and Schwab in this exercise is, I mean, Charles Schwab is literally synonymous with Wall Street, like 100 years of Wall Street. So what you have is Wall Street coming together to offer securities and exchange services and indirectly custody services for mainstream investors. And if we look out about 12 months, if I was saying, well, what are the key milestones to drive mainstream adoption of Bitcoin? Well, one of them clearly is a spot ETF. The second is the designation that Bitcoin is an asset class, right? The recognition of it as a legitimate commodity. It's a big deal, you know. And when Jerome Powell says it's not going away, when Gensler and when the head of the SEC and the CFTC both say it's a digital commodity. Well, I mean, digital commodity might not sound like much, but it, when you go down to the next round, which is like it's a Ponzi scheme or it's a scam or it's tulip bulbs, right? The difference between tulip bulbs and digital commodity is a 0 versus a 1. And I have said before, and I would repeat it again, if it's not going to 0, it's going to 1 million. It's either nothing, right? If it's nothing,
or it's something,
then it's getting scrubbed out and banned. And of course, we now know that it's not getting banned, right? There's no way that Fidelity, Citadel, BlackRock, Charles Schwab, Deutsche Bank, Credit Agricole, Banco Santander all decide they're interested in this, right? They're not
100% agree with that, actually. So like now that all these big companies getting in, like, do you guys honestly see a world where crypto no longer exists with all these big companies now trying to get into or get their piece of it? I mean, it's a good point.
Not endorsing a tulip bulb, right? So once you go from 0 to 1, then the question is, okay, well, it's an asset class. If it's not going away, then what's it worth? Well, it's worth 1% of the assets in the world. So 1% drives it up by a factor of 10 to 20.
Oh,
right?
easy.
Once you get to a 1% exposure. The recognition as an asset class is a big deal. The availability of a spot ETF is a big deal. The normalization of accounting via fair value accounting, which is the FASB initiative, it's another big deal. And then the halving, right, in less than a year is a big deal. So those are 4 pretty serious milestones that we're staring at right now. And I think, Wall Street and the general community is kind of just internalizing this all in a short period of time. And that's why the bullish outlook.
Yes.
Crazy. Shout out to Altcoin Daily for the videos. That's cool. I mean, Michael Saylor, he has long-winded answers, right? But at the same time, it's not something easily explained. So it makes total sense for him to kind of go on and cover all bases. So there's no follow-up questions in that one, section. I totally get it. But yeah, no, I agree. Now all these big companies coming in with, getting on the Bitcoin train or just in general crypto, right? It's almost impossible for them to get rid of at this point, at least in my opinion. But all right, what do you guys have for questions? We're gonna be getting out of here in a few minutes. I gotta go to daddy duty as usual. But what do you guys have in the chat? Let's see. I actually did have, let me see this real quick. Let me copy this. I want to show you guys how much. So I mentioned JP Morgan being like one of those people that were we're not going to, we're going to fire anybody that purchases Bitcoin. This is a while ago, actually. But how much did they put in? Despite 2 trillion Bitcoin. Let me see. He's made a surprise game-changing bet on crypto despite 2 trillion Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto price. Let me see. Hold on. I want to see how much they actually put in. Like, how much did they invest into crypto when they were telling all their workers that they'd get fired if they did this? You know, I'm gonna have to find this and show you guys in I thought this was an article on it. Clearly not. But I want to know. I would like to know. Let me see. Go to Google. Again, if you guys have questions before we get out of here, let's please feel free to ask. There we go. How much Bitcoin did JP Morgan buy? Let's see. The Bitcoin price has collapsed over the last year, plunging from the all-time high. Yeah, I know that. No shit. Let's see. In March 2021, JPM launched the cryptocurrency exposure basket, a debt instrument that gave exposure to cryptocurrency through 11 Bitcoin proxy stocks. Yeah, but I want to know how much they hold. How much Bitcoin does JP Morgan hold? Our own. Let's see. This was in 2021. Man, I wish I could get a straight answer. Has stated that it spends 12 billion per year. No, that's not it. Man, I'm gonna have to look this up. This is really bothering me now. Does anybody know in the chat? Does anybody know how much Bitcoin JP Morgan holds? It'd be amazing if you guys knew, because that really it kind of opens your eyes the way they did it, right? Like, again, the big companies will shit on something to make it seem worse while they accumulate as much as they possibly can without being caught, and then it'll come out later in the woodworks exactly like this. This is kind of what Mark Yusko was saying, right? It makes total sense that they would just, you know, knock it down to purchase more, and then they get caught later on buying it. You never know. Got to know a man. What are you saying, Redputs? What are you saying? All right, let me read through the chat quick. DJ Mine stacked that BTC. He's actually CPU mining right to it. All right, we are hooking up the option to show audits for contracts like ERC20 tokens. Oh, that's sick, Yeti. Hell yeah. We're going to be doing crypto audits today, later on today, actually. Yeti, what coins are we doing? I totally forget what you said. I know Ironfish actually released a new wallet or something. New GUI wallet. Am I wrong? Let me know if that's true or not yesterday. So I don't know if Yeti actually scanned that one yet. I know the plan was to do Ironfish, but we're not doing that today as far as I know. Duro, is Duro one of them? I think Duro might be one of them. Oh, it is Ironfish and Lithium. All right, Yeti said Ironfish and Lithium. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to go over the Ironfish wallets, the Lithium wallet. We're going to go over, you know, obviously just trying to make sure you guys are safe. No one's going to get, I guess, a virus downloading the wallets and all that. See what we can find within these two. I know Ironfish kind of took a left hook on the Mining King. Actually, he had an interview with them, and the lady like blatantly lied to him about going ASICS, if I'm not mistaken. He was pretty upset about it. So yeah, there's that. I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Ironfish to begin with, but it is supposed to be a privacy coin, so we'll see you guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out. All right, let me give you guys the best thing before we get out of here. We gotta sign off today, right? As we always do. Not always, but sometimes. Old Silk Road. We're gonna listen to this before we get out of here. So hopefully you guys all have a good day. Enjoy the Bitcoin. It's still up, even though the market's red. It is doing pretty well. It's holding above 30. That's what we want to see. So hopefully everything goes good. But all right, guys, have a good day. I'll see you hopefully around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I mean, sorry, 2:30, I think, depending. I have company coming by. So hopefully around 2:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'll be live today with my man Yeti. If it has to be earlier, I'll try to announce it sooner than later. But hopefully you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you soon. Happy Wednesday, and peace out.
Yeah, I wish I could roll back time to that old Silk Road. I wanna hold on till I can't no more. I'm gonna add crypto to my portfolio. I wanna hold on till I can't no more. I got my crypto coming back soon. I'm back in the black too. Suck here in the bag. Now I'm feeling like a tycoon. Riding on a Lambo. You can live with FOMO. I've been through the dips. When it's low, I was buying more. Now I got my money on the blockchain. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Can't nobody headed to the moon on my Lambo or my Rolls Royce. Now I got these altcoins, they don't make the big noise, but they make the big rips. Call me crypto cowboy. Now I got my money on the blockchain. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Can't nobody stop my campaign. Hodl gang, hodl gang, hodl gang. Yeah, wish I could roll back time to that old Silk Road. I wanna hodl till I can't no more. I'm gonna add crypto to my portfolio. I wanna hodl till I can't no more. Backyard garage, solar powered area. Spend a lot of money trying to mine that Ethereum. Boy, I got a habit, I'ma bounce right back. And I'm addicted, I become a cryptomaniac. You see, I got no stocks and I got no gold. I'm all in, all I do is I buy crypto. Wish I could roll back time to that old Silk Road. I wanna hodl till I can't no more. Wish I could roll back time to that old Silk Road. I wanna hodl till I can't no more. I'm gonna add crypto to my portfolio. I wanna hodl till I can't no more.
Have a good day, guys. Happy Wednesday and peace out.